Coach, first question, just kind of you come off the win against Washington. How much do you kind of feel like maybe you even noticed the morale of the team boost a little bit? Just kind of having a win under your belt in conference play and not staring at 0-4. Instead, you say, okay, we have something we can build on now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we try to keep that in perspective and really celebrate any win you get. And clearly got started on a great, had a great start, I guess, in non-conference. But anytime you start league 0-3, which we did last year as well, it's scary. And it's scary this year in particular, looking at the people in our league and how good they are and the competition that we're going to face. And it's daunting to even try to figure out where a win could come from. So obviously going on the road and performing at a really, high level, really played good basketball at UW and winning that game. It was a big sigh of relief in the locker room, and everybody was thrilled, and for a lot of different reasons. Conference, rivalry game, obviously getting off the 0 win column. So now that we've got something in the win column, I think it definitely boosts our morale.
You kind of look at that game in particular, and again, it was one of those games where you're down 12-2, and it's, like, oh boy, is this going to be a repeat of what happened in Pullman where you scored 2 points in the first quarter, but obviously you guys kept whittling away, took the lead at halftime. How much do you think that alone kind of gave you confidence, even going into the rest of the season, that, okay, we go down by this much early on, it's not game over, it's not an end of the day, we can come back, as you saw that you did?
Yeah, I mean, what did we have? A whopping 11. We had the 11 points in the first quarter. So we said that at the quarter, at least we don't have two. So, I thought we made strides offensively for sure. And after that quarter, where it just really was, I mean, they played fast and they hurt us with some things that we were trying to take away. We made some real big mistakes defensively. And I'm telling you, we just cleaned it up in the second quarter and got that right, got the defensive end right, made their shots become incredibly hard. And it just felt like our offense was starting to get better and better. And some of those things that we really have been trying to work on is, if Bella's not in the game, different people need to be posting up and trying to find different ways to get easy baskets for Tara and easy baskets for Charlize, and getting B more involved in the low post where she has some room to operate. So, I think that's really the key for us is we got to get, paint points and the best way we can do it. Yes, we expect and want Bella to have 14, 16 a night, but it's nice to see that we can do that with other people. And I think that gets them playing better when they get an easy or a cheap basket in the post. So loved how we competed the rest of the way, offensively, and that we played a little bit differently than we have in the past. And I think that makes us really effective.
We've long talked about just how good this conference is, and it seems like this year it maybe even is more so. You look at Charlie Cream's bracketology, 8 teams in, 2 teams just on the outside, and those teams are Washington and Cal, who, as you know, are very, very good teams. How do you kind of view the conference this year? It just really does seem that it's 10 teams deep, or it's 12 teams deep, really. You can't take the 2 who aren't in that bracketology lightly, and every night is a chance to win, but also a chance to lose because of how deep it is.
Yeah. I think in those first couple of years early on, the Sabrina years in Oregon was so good, and obviously Stanford's been so good, but it seemed like there were super teams and, top 5, top 6. And now all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 top 10 potentially. Like I think anybody would, maybe Utah losing, Neepkins hurt them a little bit as far as just how they could be a Final Four, they could be a national championship caliber team. But gosh, you look at just how good UCLA is and how good USC is, and obviously Stanford's playing high, and Colorado's unbelievable. So it's and so instead of just one super team or one Final Four potential team or 2, maybe it just looks like, my gosh, there could be 3 or 4 teams that are in the top 10. So just what you said, it is impossible to look at the rest of our schedule. I just refuse to do it. I don't want to look past, this weekend, because I'm just really, really, afraid of what lies out there. And everybody's going to go through a stretch where, and I think we're coming up to it, where we basically play, 4 games in a row against top 12 teams in the country. So it's a real credit to this league. It's and to just the coaches in this league and how they've built their programs. And it's have just the ultimate respect for the teams at the top. But I also understand the competitiveness at 1 through 12. I think that is the thing that makes this league so, why it is considered one of the best, if not the best league, is that it's 1 through 12. Like you said, it's hard to find a win anywhere, and anyone can beat anyone on any given night. So just you have to bring your best in order to even have a chance to win a game.
So I wanted to ask, last week we talked about LA and kind of her stepping up in AT's absence. And then of course she had a big game this last weekend. So what went into her progress this week to put on a performance like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're learning a lot about just all our team. I mean, I think, Charlize stuck around after our pregame meal before Stanford, and she really wanted to watch what Stanford did to us a year ago. And it helped her. She played a better game. She didn't challenge some of the big. She moved the ball really well. I think that's really key for our players. I think LA really didn't have a very good game against UW the first time. When you go back and you watch that game, and we can put some clips together for her. And I think I think what you notice about her, and I see her every day, and she is just a joy. She loves life. She is a happy kid. She thinks every day is just amazing. But otherwise, she's kind of a beast. She's competitive. She wants to be good. She's taken on every challenge, and yes, a little bit of a roller coaster, while she's trying to figure out what it takes to be great and to be successful here against this competition. She's eager to learn, but she's, more importantly, she's very, very competitive. And I think the way she came out, she was not going to play the same way she did against UW the first time. And I think that's going to help us as we prepare for other teams as we go down the road, just to make sure she understands exactly what's there and what isn't, and what she needs to be looking for, because a lot is on her shoulders, no question about it. But she's growing up right before our eyes.
Awesome. And then you also talked about the second chance points and offensive rebounds being a big point of emphasis and on a noticeable improvement this week. What went into that improvement? Was it more matchup based, or what kind of work did the team put into that result?
I put the bubble on in practice and on our practice guys, and I said it's every day's a pizza day. Whoever has the most offensive rebounds for the guys gets a pizza. I hope that's not illegal. I don't think that's illegal for a practice guy. And I did it because I felt like that was something that is such an emphasis at UW. And I thought, oh gosh, they're going to come out and they're just going to be killing the boards, and they're going to be so determined. And just the reality of it made us better. It made us more aware. It was embarrassing at times against the guys. I mean, again, the bubble's on, but basically they could get 4 in a row right underneath the basket, and there's zero you can do about it. But it certainly became our players were very hyper aware of needing to box out, needing to check, and needing to make sure their guy doesn't get the rebound. So we're going to continue to do that. I mean, it's a simple thing. But it's a little bit brutal, but it exposes anything you're not doing well, for sure. And if my practice guys need a little bit of a motivation to go hard, I just have to offer a pizza up, and man, there they go. So, but I do think, I mean, that stat was as big as any stat against that, and just the fact that we shot 50% against UW, a really good defensive team. Us getting 17 second chance points, them getting 2. That was about us being aggressive, us not giving in, us not settling, and making the most of it. And I give a lot of credit to B. I thought B did an unbelievable job on the boards and kept balls alive and gave us extra chances to score, which we did.
And you segue right into my next question about B, and just you've talked about her potential to be a double-double a night. And then, she kind of, her season took a pause with the injury, but now she's back on the floor. What has gone into her success, especially this last week, in fitting more into your scheme and being the player that she is?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to constantly, and I try every week to meet with our players or at least every 2 weeks, and just to make sure they're not thinking, making up a story in their head. And I think as I get to know B, she is just she wants to win. She's a perfectionist. She listens to everything that's being said. She's trying to make us better. I think she puts a lot of pressure on herself to do good and hates missing a shot. And I think sometimes maybe shied away from taking some shots, trying to get a better shot in our offense. And I don't think it's been easy for her because she's played, basically Bella crowds the lane. I think in where she's been before, she's had the whole lane and she's had all day long and she could just go create any shot she wanted. And obviously against in Pac-12 level length and bodies and athletes, she's had to figure out where she can be effective. But again, that's what we talked about, getting her in a first post down, letting her be first post down and back to the basket against the people she's being defended by, keeps her closer to the boards. I mean, she just finds ways to be effective if you give her room and give her a chance. And I think our posts are getting better at finding each other based on what defenses are doing to us. And again, we need a great high-low game. If people try to double us in the post, we've got to kick that ball out. We've got to get some points out of our post for sure, but we also have to be really good passers out of the post, and B does all of that for us.
And then this weekend going up against ASU in Arizona, we talked about how, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. How do you kind of, you've talked about the intensity of this team and kind of keeping that up, especially after a win. What does practice look like this week in terms of keeping that intensity high and preparing for two Pac-12 teams that may not be towards the top of the standings, but are certainly still Pac-12 teams?
Yeah, two different teams. Sometimes in the past you thought Arizona State and Arizona were somewhat similar, and the way you played one, you could play the other. They're a little bit more different now. Both very athletic, very dangerous teams. Obviously, Arizona State has not won a game, so you just immediately know they're walking in here knowing that they are desperate and they have to win. We better match that. We better be desperate because, again, it's just so hard to find wins. We're at home. We need a great crowd. We haven't had a home game in a month. Again, it's the challenge of teams not letting people come in here and steal something on your home court. And both of these teams can do that. Arizona's just what they've been in the past. Just they can press all over the court. They've got great athletes. They can stretch the floor. They got a big. I mean, there's just so many things you got to deal with, and I think just the back-to-back of having to guard Arizona State the way you have to, and then try to be ready for Arizona. The challenge is very real. But we've had great practices, and again, we're trying to. You can't just focus on the teams you're playing. You got to keep focusing on yourself and trying to fix the things that you need to fix and to continue to grow opportunities for players to get on the court and to get minutes for us. I think that's big for us. We still got to find ways to not overplay some of our players. LA's playing a ton of minutes. Obviously Charlize is, but I have a lot of confidence in our bench and the players that we have available. So big weekend for us. We can't take anything for granted. We just have to find ways to continue to raise the bar and get better.
Sweet. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Jamie, I guess, has a couple more, so we'll go to him one more time. Jamie,
Yeah, Coach, just want to ask about Jenna in particular. First 12 games averaging 5 points, last 5 averaging 11 points. It just seems like she has really kind of come alive with her scoring, especially with her shooting. Kind of saw her pace you guys early against UW. Just where have you maybe seen her mentality or even her play change in the last few games?
Yeah. Well, I just love the fact that she couldn't have been a person that wanted to play better at UW. I mean, there's not anyone else on our team. She's from the West Side, friends are at UW. I mean, just the pressure she probably felt to perform. And what does she do? She goes out there and airballs her first 2 shots. And then what does she do? She's, I guess, 3 for 5 after that, or 3 for 4. I don't know what it was. I think she ended up, I guess, 3 for 3 after that. Like, she just is, just not afraid of big moments. I mean, as a freshman, she's not afraid of taking a shot after airballing too. I love that response about her. Now, Does she need to be better defensively? Yes. Does she need to rebound and find ways to get in there on the boards? Yes. But there's something when you're special in an area of the game, you know, and shooting is a specialty. And it is something that if you do it really, really well, you're going to be on the floor. She has that mindset to be that kind of player for us. And people have to stretch out and guard her. And when they do, it opens up everything else for your team. So really, you know, she's starting to get her feel. She's starting to gain confidence. You know, for us, I think having lost Yo, who's not playing for us this year, I mean, she's kind of the answer that Yo was, at least in stretching the defense and making people really have to extend to guard her. But, you know, love her mentality and competitiveness. And again, another player that wants to be good and will do whatever it takes to be good.
And then just real quick, last thing, update for AT this weekend.
Yeah, no update. I don't think it's going to happen this weekend. I think we're still a week away, maybe even 2 weeks away. So feeling better, feeling good, but just we gotta let it heal.
Great. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Jamie.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Go Cougs.